Hi everybody, welcome to the United Stand. It's Ruben Amarim, sell or keep time as we work through the unlucky 13 and decide in a year's time whether they will be part of the Amarim revolution or whether they will be departing Manchester United. We've already actually got, you're going to be interactive on this. I've got polls for every single player. If you're watching live, there's a Mason Mount one going. It's very interesting where the votes are at the moment on that. Get your comments if you're not watching live. We've also got some topical stuff for you on Martinez, on Paul Pogba, and also on Amarim's first day, which is tomorrow. But this is the international break. It's the last one for ages, and we've been planning this for a while. Keep or sell, United Stand, community style. So let's get straight into it. Each player will be debating, but you will decide with your votes and I will decide with my opinion, and everyone else can get their comments in as well. So what we're talking about here are players that will obviously be given a chance by Amarim at the start, but will they be here in a year's time? Because we know the glow up, we know the effort, we know you're all fit, and we know you're all going to try, but will you try for 12 months and will you be here after next summer? That's the key we're talking about here. Now, first things first, I don't know whether anyone's going to disagree with me on this one, but it's going to be a cracking show. But I'm leaving out, we're not going to do a poll for Garnacho, Ahmad, Mainu, Yoro, Mazraoui, and can't even read my bloody writing there. Martinez. I think, and Dalot, I think they all will survive. I think we can all pretty much agree with that. Just Kevin says it's ruthless aggression. That's what we're talking about. But look, maybe some people will disagree with me on those players, but I think they will all survive. So we've got a selection of players here. Bruno will be in there. Rashford will be in there. Casemiro will be in there. Rasmus will be in there. Zirkzee will be in there, and a load of others as well. So let's get to it. Scott Hargreaves says thank you for well done for yesterday. Well, thank you everyone. We're still getting contributions in. I'll put the QR code up in a moment for the charity stream we did yesterday. 40k in 12 hours is incredible. Thank you very much who got involved. Smash a like. Right, first player, sell or keep. Get your vote in. Will he be a Man United player in 12 months' time? Will he survive the first 6 months of Amarim and a summer transfer window? The name is Mason Mount. Given the number 7 shirt by Ten Hag, £55 million with a year left on his contract. He's barely played. He is back fit now. He is a number 10. Amarim plays with 2 behind a striker. Surely, if he can stay fit, there's a real opportunity that Mason Mount from his Chelsea days would feature in Amarim's plans. But that is a big if. 60% of you are saying sell. Sell Mason Mount. But is that based upon the fact that you've got no evidence as to why you would keep him? Personally, I think that this is a player that Man United would really struggle to move on in a year's time. I'm saying keep because I think that's the reality. I don't see Mason Mount being a player that Man United can get rid of in the next 12 months, whether they want to or not. It was a big outlay, it was a big wage, and he will still have, 4 years left on his deal from today. So I still think Mason Mount will be here in a year. How much football he'll have played, how integral he'll be to the team, that is up for debate. But look, I think some people are voting here with what they would like to see happen as well, which is absolutely fine because it is about your opinion. And 59% of you are saying sell Mason Mount, and 41% of you are saying keep. Interesting. I think he'll still be here. But look, there we go. That's your thoughts on him. Let's do another one. Constantine says, Mark, I'm at the pub and can barely hear you, but I'm committed. Got you by the ear, says Constantine. Mark, what do you do if you're... Oh, really? Are we really there where we've got Alwayne who's putting 2 words together trying to get me to say a racist word? I mean, mate, it's 2024. It's not 2017. Go and sit in a little quiet room and say, I'm an absolute fucking pillock, because that's what you are. You sad excuse. What are you trying to do? Putting 2 words together to try and get somebody to say a racist word, which they wouldn't even be racist doing it because you're trying to catch them out. Jog on, mate. Go away. You're about 8 years too late. Right, next one. Let's go. So Mason Mount, yeah, about 60-40 in that one. Let's go straight from Mason Mount. I'm not messing around here. We're not messing around tonight. Let's go with Bruno. Sell or keep. Will Bruno Fernandes be here in a year? Should he be here in a year? This is a big one. Ruben Amorim, I believe, will keep Bruno Fernandes. I know I'm saying that a little bit early when people are only just voting, but it's up to you what you do. I think Bruno will stay. I think Bruno will be here in a year. I think he'll still be wearing the captain's armband in a year. And I think he'll be an integral player, is my prediction. So for me, it's a keep. I don't see Bruno Fernandes, probably for similar reasons to Mason Mount in a way. We're financially balls deep. Bruno's only just been given a new contract. We're talking months of a new contract. It's a big contract. It's about 300 grand a week. There ain't no way Man United are going to be able to sell him unless it's to Saudi Arabia, which I don't think he'd want to go anyway. So this is a commitment player that I personally think Man United like Amarim because they want to get the best out of Bruno. And I think Bruno will be staying at Manchester United. I just don't see it. And I think hopefully he's going to be a really important player. And it's really interesting as well because while 60% were saying sell Mason Mount, 75% are saying keep Bruno Fernandes, which is really good, I think, because I think it shows that there is a belief in him that he can turn things around. I think we've seen it obviously recently with what he's been doing on the pitch, and I think that is something that we want to consider and see progress, and we want to see the real Bruno Fernandes. Let's stay Portuguese here, and look, this is a player that I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to leave this to the poll before I pass my opinion. Dalot, keep or sell? Dalot, keep or sell? Now, you could sell Dalot and you could bring much needed millions in. There would be interest in Dalot from decent teams in Europe. We are going to a 3 centre-back system. We might not use wing-backs. Where does Dalot actually fit into the team is interesting. Do you move him on to generate funds for a system that he might not fit into? Is he good enough, consistent enough to play in the team for Manchester United? He's certainly available a lot, but is he the sort of player that you maybe look at and go, doesn't suit the system, let's cash in, people will be interested? Or do you go, he's always available, I like him, under a different manager, he can only get better? Really interesting one. I'm not looking at the poll because I want to have a look. So 66% are saying keep, and it's going up a little bit, but 33% are saying sell. I can sort of get that. I didn't think it would be massively high. I think in recent weeks, Dalot has been a little bit poor. I mean, I think that West Ham miss sort of was where it started, if I'm being completely honest. But for me, I would, look, if we're talking in 12 months' time, I don't know. But obviously, I would say that for me, Dalot would not be one of those players that I would be looking to move on, if I'm being absolutely honest. I think there's other players that I'd be looking to move on potentially first. And I think he's the sort of player that, because of his height, he's quite tall for a fullback. He can attack down the right-hand side. He can play off the left-hand side. I think he could play in a back three. He may even be able to play in a midfield. I don't know, but I think like Mazraoui, all right, they are right backs, but I also think that there is a place in this player. There is a play. We know that Amarim basically is going to come in and he likes to develop players and change positions with players. So I think that with Dalot, I would be thinking, is there... Let's see what happens with him. Right. Hi, Mark. Listen to you every day at work, all the way from New Zealand. Love the work. Keep it up, says Sam Light. Just catching up on the super chats. I'll save you time. Sell them all, says Keel. Amarim doesn't play with 2 number 10s behind his striker. He plays with 2 wingers behind the striker. Hence why he had 7 wingers in his Lisbon squad, says Ben. Exactly, Ben. But obviously, we're going to have to be patient for that because we haven't got 7 wingers at the moment. So it could play into the hands of players that aren't wingers. To sell a player, you firstly need a buyer. Finding a buyer for players out of form with injury issues is quite the obstacle, says Kev. Yes, but we shouldn't be giving a manager those players. I think Kev makes a great point there. Kev Ashton, not Ashford. I think make a great point. It's all right as saying sell these players, and I think you're probably right. But finding a buyer for these players has always been a problem. I think every single manager at Man United has been has had to work with the deadwood when we should be looking to move them on. But we need to change that. Ineos need to change that. You can't say to Amarim, I know these players aren't good enough, but we can't sell them, so we're going to keep them. They've got to find a way to move them on. Pizza says, Mount has a bit of pedigree and is pass-first midfielder. Give the man a chance. He can change how we play from Bruno. He's got to stay fit, though, Pizza, hasn't he? Got to stay fit. Guy Fawkes says, Mark, are these players what we think or what we want? Well, they're obviously what you want. Like, you can't say what you think because you don't know what the manager's going to do. This is what you want in 12 months. What you think or what you want. It's up to you. Vote however you want. I'm saying what I would do. So, yeah. I can't tell you. I'm not answering what Amarim's going to do. I haven't got a bloody clue if Amarim's going to use Dalot or if he's going to use Bruno or if he's going to use Mount. I don't know. So you've got to go with what you want, really, haven't you? What you think and what you want. You've got to go with your opinion, basically. Thank you very much. Okay, so we've got Luke Shaw up next. I tell you what, if anybody needed a bit of positive PR, it's definitely Luke Shaw because his popularity rating in this fan base at the moment is absolutely relegation zone, isn't it? 88% of you would sell Luke Shaw. I would sell Luke Shaw. I think a lot of people are going to be quite surprised by that. I would sell Luke Shaw. If it's down to me, which is what we're all voting for here, I would sell Luke Shaw. There's no point copping out and going, I don't think we will. I don't think Amarim will. You've got to vote with what you would do. I would sell Luke Shaw. And I'll tell you why. Because he's not, in my opinion, he is not. And this is what Kev said. Love to know who you're going to sell him to, Mark. Yeah, who am I going to sell him to? Who am I going to sell him to? Because I haven't got a bloody clue. Who is going to buy Luke Shaw on 200 grand a week with 2 or 3 years left on his contract? Who is injury prone? Forget. I heard somebody say today about Pogba. I think it was on social media. Might have been on X. And it was a tweet, and I laughed. I laughed out loud. It was like, I was just having a cup of tea. I was moving some stuff, having a cup of tea, looked at my phone, reading through the timeline, and there was this tweet, and it was like, I can't believe people wouldn't bring Paul Pogba back. Imagine what he could do to this squad. And imagine what he'd do at United. And I thought, I know exactly what he'd do. He'd lie on a bloody bed, injured, for a year, earning money, just like Luke Shaw does. Because he's not played football for 2 years and he's 32. And it's not just because of the ban. He was injured 5 times in the first 12 months. He went to Juventus on a free for the second time from our club. But let's bring him back. Let's bring Pog back. You know, he didn't leave our club twice for nothing. Absolutely nothing, because he loves United. Absolute prats. And this is the problem. I like Paul Pogba, by the way. I like Luke Shaw, by the way. But God, I'm tired of being shit. And if we want to be a real football club, we've got to stop being a bloody charity. Luke Shaw, when he's fit, is one of the best left-backs in Europe. Paul Pogba, when he's fit, can be one of the best midfielders in Europe. But for the love of God, they're not going to be fit. So if I could get rid of Luke Shaw, I would do. And I'm one of his biggest fans. But he ain't going to stay fit. He's just not going to stay fit. He's going to get more and more injuries because his body can't deal with it anymore. So I would move him on. And obviously, if I'm being completely honest, I think it leaves a very, very bad taste in the mouth that he was basically injured for the whole of last season, gets himself fit for England, and then he's been injured ever since, and it's nearly December. So for me, I would move him on. I like the player. I do like the player. I'm not going to say that I don't. And I'd love, if he could stay, if Luke Shaw said to me, I'll be fit for 90% of the season, he's staying. But I don't think we're going to get 60, maybe not even 50. So for me, that's a player that I would be looking to move on. How you do it, though, very good question. I don't know. I really don't know, because he's got a massive wage and a massive contract, and I don't know how you do it. Sticking with the defence and staying with England, Harry Maguire is your next one. Constantine says, Mark, you are tasked with selling one player as of tomorrow. Who is it going to be? One player I would sell tomorrow, Constantine. And if I'm going to get good money for them, probably Antony. Yeah. If I could get good money for them, probably Antony. If it wasn't Antony, I'd probably go for one of the big wages. So Casemiro or Harry Maguire or Luke Shaw or I mean, I still think Rashford's an interesting one. We'll talk about Rashford in a minute. Can we donate him to medical science, says Nick P. And Zaki says, Bruno is a good player, but he needs to be shown that he's not untouchable. He is not above the club and that he can be benched too. I agree. Thank you very much for your super chat, by the way. So, Harry Maguire. I mean, look, this is harsh. But remember, Harry Maguire, there's context to everything. For me, Luke Shaw needs to go because of injury. For me, I would keep Mason Mount, even though he's injury prone, because he's only been here a year and he's 25, and let's wait and see what he can do over the next year. There are players I'm going to talk about that I would sell because I don't think they're good enough. I think in the case of Harry Maguire, it's a little bit harsh that 83% of you are saying sell, but remember, he's out of contract in the summer, he's on 190k, and I think he's going to be 32 next, and he is picking up a lot of injuries. So I actually do agree with the 83%. I would sell Harry Maguire or move him on, whatever the word is. Sell or keep, let him go or keep him, whatever. Sell's the same thing, isn't it? Basically, you've got to give him a new contract next summer. He's on 190k a week. He is getting injured a lot. He's 32. It's an obvious one to move on. What I will say in defence of Harry Maguire, and I've not always defended Harry Maguire, I think he's been a bit calamitous at times, but I would say under Ten Hag, I think, funnily enough, Ollie loved Maguire. It was his signing, wasn't it? I didn't like Maguire under Ollie, and yet that was Ollie's guy, captain, signing. I didn't like Maguire under Ollie. I think under Ten Hag was where I actually liked Maguire. And I never disliked him as a person, but as a player, I always thought he was reliable. And I always thought he got written off. And even last season he got written off, and he'd come in and do a job. He ain't Canate. He's definitely not Van Dijk. He's not a modern centre-back, but over the last couple of years, I think he's come into the team and done a job. I mean, still, look at Brighton. I thought that goal was on him, the first one where the cross came in. He's always struggled with crosses along the ground. Europa League final. But that was Ollie. But if he was 28 and he was on 120k a week and he had 2 years left on his contract, I'd keep him. But because he's 32 and he's on 190k a week and his contract's up in the summer, for me, that is a very easy let's move him on, because the circumstances are very different. So, yeah, I agree with the 83% of you there on that one. We're going to talk about Amarim's first day a little bit, but I'm really enjoying this. I hope you are as well. Next one is Casemiro. Now, context to Casemiro is that he is not out of contract in the summer. I think he's still got 2 years left on his contract. He's on £350,000 a week. Do you sell or keep Casemiro? And you're thinking about next summer, by the way. We're talking about over the next 12 months. Would you sell him basically next summer, or would you keep him? I would keep Maguire, says Nick P. He is amazing at sorting out the Christmas raffle and an all-round lovely guy. I thought he was being real there. Thank you very much. British player, high salary, high injury prone, says Wolverine. Slider says, with Casemiro, off to Saudi Arabia. G-Man says, sell them all. And make sure you're smashing a like if you're watching, by the way. We've got nearly 10,000 watching. This is a show we've had planned for a while. It's the last Sunday before all the football comes back. We're basically doing sell or keep. We're going through every single player. Should they be a Man United player next season, basically? It's your decision. So we're not selling them tomorrow, but next summer, would you sell or keep if you were in charge? Obviously, the board might say you've got more chance of rocking our shit, but the reality is you've got the decision on it. Casemiro is an interesting one. I think for this season, I'm happy for him to stay. But I look back at the Casemiro I loved as a player at Real Madrid, and I loved his first season. And I thought he was absolutely fantastic in his first season. I actually said he was Player of the Year, although Rashford won it, and fair play. But I thought last season he was just unbelievable. At times I felt it was like almost sabotage how bad he was, and it was clear that there'd been some falling out with Ten Hag. I think Ten Hag said when he subbed him off at half time it was for footballing reasons or something. So I don't think there was respect there. He seems to have done better in recent weeks. Definitely done better in recent weeks, and obviously that's coincided with Ten Hag leaving. So I think that this season he could be quite a useful player for Amarim, but he's not a £350,000 a week player, and next season he won't be either. So for me, from a purely financial point of view, and the fact that he's going to get worse every year, this is a player that we really should be looking to move on and upgrade for somebody that's more longer term and maybe a little bit cheaper. So for me, next summer, Casemiro's got to go. And let's not forget, it's a well-known fact that last summer he was a player that Manchester United definitely wanted to move on. 100% wanted to move on, but couldn't find a buyer. So, yeah. Take what you can and get rid of 18.2 million in wages a year, says Fuge. Exactly, it's a lot of money. Chenny says, I love the shirt, Mark. Might buy one. Is it limited? They are limited edition. I think the link's in the video description. Obviously, get your order in now because you want it to come in the next couple of weeks for Christmas anyway. But, yeah, Christmas jumper. Knitted. Loving the design this year, by the way. Check it out. So, yeah, what have you said? 71% of you have gone with keeping Casemiro. Sorry, was it keep? Was it keep? I think it was keep. I need help. I thought it was sell. I think it was keep, which is interesting, isn't it? Oh no, I don't know. Was it keep or sell? No, it was sell. It was sell. You know what? I would have been surprised. I would have been surprised. Zirkzee's up next. Get your votes in. If you're not watching live, by the way, by all means, get your comments in. Just do a list and we can read those or whatever. It was sell. Sorry. Goldbridge the Pratt. Look, if it had been 71% keep, I would have said, fine, fair play. I understand that people think that Casemiro might bounce back, but I just don't think he's ever going to be 350k a week, is he? And when you're paying somebody £350,000 a week, a decent performance against Leicester ain't enough. Like, you want that 350k a week to be putting you firmly in the top four. If you're paying anybody 350k a week, you're not just paying them to have a good performance against Leicester. You're paying them to actually inspire and drive the team into the top four. Spurs don't pay anybody 350k a week. Aston Villa don't. Brighton don't. Arsenal probably do, but that will be someone like Saka or Odegaard. Liverpool probably do, but that will be someone like Salah. Man City probably do, but that will be somebody like Haaland and De Bruyne. So that's what we should be getting for that wage. And I think sometimes people forget it's not just about, we'll stop picking on him because he's done okay. We should be getting a hell of a lot more week in, week out for the last 12 months than we have been. And it's not just Casemiro. There are other players on stupid money as well. But you know what? I get a little bit tired of people going, stop picking on Casemiro or stop picking on this player. They're on £300,000 a week. That is Saka, Salah and De Bruyne level of wage. And we're getting Marcus Albrighton. Like, we must get more out of that wage. So for me, it's a go in the summer. Unless he can replicate what he was doing at Real Madrid. Caitlin says, we bought Casemiro to replicate his performances from Real Madrid. So far, he's yet to show that. So for me, it's a sell. I think in the first season, it was good, but it's never been anywhere near since then. How are we all doing, Mark? Sell mount now, says Rub. Thank you very much. Some good comments coming in as well. Elliot Proctor in the live chat talking about Zirkzee. He says, Zirkzee we have to keep. He hasn't had time or patience to prove himself. He would thrive in an Amarim system. So with Zirkzee, at the moment, we've got 62% saying keep and 38% saying sell. I've got to say, I'm a little bit worried about that because that is obviously keep, but you're nearly 60-40. That's a worry that we're getting on for 40% of this community and probably the fan base that feel like maybe it's time to cash in on Zirkzee. So that worries me a little bit because he has, I agree, only been here for a few weeks. For me, it's 100% keep. I think it's just scary how people would make their mind up on him when there are so many players, whether it's Patrice Everett or Vidic with us or players at other clubs like Fabinho at Liverpool, etc., who started off slowly and then became really good players. I mean, people were selling Agate last month. They were giving him nicknames and taking the piss. And now it's like, oh, Agate's cooking. Are these people going to apologise? Or is it just, for clicks? The point is, I think it's way too soon to be making your mind up. And I will always say that we should support young players and new signings for more than a couple of weeks. We should be giving them a few months. So for me, it's a firm keep on Zirkzee. I'm not saying he's going to be a success. I think that's really, really difficult to predict. But it does worry me that nearly 40% of you would sell. But thankfully, it's a keep for Zirkzee. And for me, that's 100%. I would do that. Next one's going to be fun. We still have got some good ones to come. You'll notice there's 2 or 3 big names that we haven't mentioned yet that we will be doing. Some people are already talking about Rashford. We haven't even done him yet. Antony is up next. Give us your thoughts on him. We've got a super chat from I Am Ronnie. Come on, Mark. Now say the same about Rashford and Mount and the English lads as you said about Casemiro. Late to the party. We've already done Mason Mount. I also said I'd sell Luke Shaw, who's English and a player that I like. This is just about what's best for Manchester United and being realistic. So I'm not going to not have my say, and that's why we've got the poll, and that's why we've got the comments, because people can have their say. It's a community. And if you don't think it's a community, well, a lot of you were part of the community yesterday, raising £40,000 for people with terminal illness, chatting to me for 12 hours. The community is what is the lifeblood of this channel. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so Antony. Well, I'm surprised by this, actually, because we're hitting 85% sell, and yet for me, it almost feels like I'm swimming against the tide with my opinion on Antony, because it always feels from the chat that there is this obsession that Antony's going to start being world class for us. And look, I think Amarim will give him a chance. I do. But for me, this is a really easy sell. If you're asking me, should we sell him in the summer, whether he'll be here in a year's time, I just can't see it. I think the distance from the shore to swim back to safety is just too far. And I just don't think he's got the ability to do it. I stood by Antony for a long time. I was actually really excited when we bought him, but I was very excited when we got Kagawa. I was very excited when we got Mkhitaryan. I was very excited when we got Memphis. And they all flopped because they all weren't good enough for the Premier League, which is a very intense league. So I think the same with Antony. I've got no guilt or no embarrassment for thinking he was going to be a really good signing. But technically, I just don't think he's up to it. He's very one-footed. He's very predictable. And we just don't see... And with Rashford, there are moments where he can send somebody back to bloody kindergarten. He's that good. But with Antony, I just don't see that. And with Ahmad and Garnacho, I do see those moments. But with Antony, I just don't see it. So I don't see a way back. Obviously, I would love it. I would love it for any of these players to prove us wrong. I wouldn't sell Luke Shaw if he stayed fit and was one of the best left backs in England again. I wouldn't sell Antony if he was playing as well as Anthony Gordon. But you're asking for an opinion. I'll give you an honest answer. I agree with the 83% that he would be sold in the summer. That's my thoughts on that. Let's go to... I've got a few controversial ones to come, but let's just do what is probably quite an easy one because it is on the list. I say it's an easy one. He was in the morning show this morning. He's injured at the moment. This could be our highest one yet. Lindelof. Zaki says, I can't understand why you'd sell Zirkzee. Young player coming from Italy, needs time to adjust, and topically, most players from Serie A struggle at the start. Great point, Zaki. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. If Antony can't play as a wing back, then I don't think he should be near the team, says Tam. I mean, look, he might actually get some game time. You never know. You never know. Zirkzee hate seems like systematic racism, says Suave. I think that's a very sweeping statement, mate. 80-something% wanted to get rid of Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire, so I don't think it's anything to do with that, honestly. As somebody that's been around the community for a long time, I would defend our community and say that that's not the reason at all. I think it comes down to the fact that some people have seen Zirkzee. He's not an out-and-out striker. We've got number 10s, and they don't really feel he's going to fit into the team. But I think we've got a brand new system and he's a brand new player and I would give him time. And you never know, you do need players who can do something off the bench as well. Lindelof actually is only 82%. I don't know what 18% of you are doing tonight, but, you know, I think you've clicked the wrong thing. 18% of you would keep Victor Lindelof. Again, 32. Again, massively injury prone. Again, a massive wage. And again, out of contract in the summer. So you're basically saying you would keep him and give him a new contract. That's big. I understand if someone's got 3 years left on the contract and you're thinking, well, just may as well keep them and try and see what we can get out of them. But you're literally giving him a new contract because he's out of contract in the summer. So if you're keeping him, fair play. But 83% of you are selling him. And I would agree with you on that one. I just think there's been times where I really like Lindelof. And I think as a 3rd, 4th, even 5th choice centre-back, he's not a bad shout. You know, you're never going to have Virgil van Dijk as your 4th choice centre-back because he's too good. So you've got to have a centre-back that's reliable, that steps in, but obviously isn't amazing. And I think Lindelof always did that job really well. The problem is recently is if you're going to be the 4th choice centre-back, you've got to be available. And he's not available enough. So for me, that is a hard sell. An easy sell. Hard sell. Probably it won't be a hard sell because he'll be out of contract. Right, let's do Rasmus. Now, I want to say on this one, for me, I would not have included him. There are certain players that we're not including tonight. Kobe Mainoo, Garnacho, Ahmad, Dalot, Martinez, Mazraoui. Those players I just don't think would even be considered to be sold. So I've left them out. I would have left Rasmus out because I just do not think that he is a player that should be scrutinised as a young player. I think he's hardly gets any service. And I actually think Amarim could get a lot out of him because I do see similarities with Gyökeres. But I also read social media. I also see the watch-along chat. And he seems to get a lot of stick. So I thought, well, you know what? We are a community. I'm not going to protect. Let's throw it out there and see what the general consensus is. And to be fair, I'm very encouraged that we're over 90%, our highest of any player to keep. So that's very encouraging because 90% keep, really, he shouldn't have been on this list then, which is great. But I'm glad I left it in there because I think if I hadn't, people would have said, well, what are you protecting him for? But again, for me, Rasmus is there with Mainoo, he's there with Garnacho, he's there with Ahmad. He is a young player that we can get a lot more out of, who I think has had a tough ride more than anybody because he doesn't get service, who is now going to be playing in a system where you're the head of the team. Like Amarim doesn't play with wide forwards that shoot. He plays with a team that basically funnels up to the number 9. So I think definitely keep for me. And I agree with the 91% of you, 100%. So we've done Rasmus. I know there's one I definitely need to do. I'm not purposely leaving him till last, but he isn't next. And I think everybody knows who it is. You might not guess who the next one is, but you will in a moment. We're about to hit the poll. Sell or keep. Christian Erikson. Sell or keep. Christian Erikson. Ryan Wilson has given us, is a better member for 6 months. He says, we are turning into Sentimentality FC. Get rid of the deadwood in this club and that are lower Prem, upper Championship level. And Wesley Coolum says, if Hojlund gets the service Gyökeres gets, he'll be a fucking incredible. And I'm here for it, Mark. Mate, I already feel that Agate, those of us who stuck by Agate, I haven't started the poll. Those of us who stuck by Agate are starting to get justified. Those of us who stuck by Dalot are starting to get justified. And I think with Rasmus, we'll be justified as well. If he can stay fit, I think he will do really, really well. I can't wait to watch Amarim. I mean, look, we'll talk about Amarim in a minute because it's first day tomorrow. We haven't seen enough of Rasmus to make a decision, says OTG. That's why it's a keep. Brandon, welcome to the Members Club. Love that. Get the badge in the chat. If you are a member of the channel, let's just say there's something really exciting coming for Christmas. You're going to get a Christmas present. It's going to be really exciting for the United Stand. So thanks everyone who is a member. Really appreciate that. Get your badge in the chat. The Duke says, I do have high hopes for the squad, but Leao for Rashford, what are the replacements? Still wonder if we had Rios work well with this new system as well. Thank you very much, Duke. Really appreciate that. It's high for Erikson. Sell, 82%. And I think with Erikson, He's out of contract in the summer, so he's very much in the similar situation to Lindelof and Maguire. Knowing the way Ineos have worked, I think they're already looking at Lindelof, Maguire and Erikson and literally going 190k Maguire, 120k Lindelof, so that's what, 330, 310, and then Erikson's 150, 480. So you got £500,000 a week with those three players. Bye-bye. So I think that Ineos will move them on, all three of them. From a financial point of view, they've let 250 members of staff go. I mean, I know people who've been made redundant by Man United, so it's harsh. I don't think they're going to look at players and go, oh, yeah, just stay, it's fine. So I don't think Erikson will get a contract renewal. And I also think from an Amarim point of view, he'll look at him and go, in my system, you've got to be really energetic and almost fast. And that's not something Erikson's going to be able to do as he moves further into his 30s. So for me, Erikson moves on. What I would say, and I'd say the same about Maguire, is that there are two players there that maybe don't suit the future of Man United, but they definitely go off to other clubs and be very good players. I mean, I think if you put Harry Maguire at centre-back for West Ham or Everton, he'd be a really good player. And I think if you put Christian Eriksen in a Fulham side or a Bundesliga side, I think he'd be a good player as well. So it's not that they're bad players. Again, this context, I think both players, financially and age, it's a good time to move them on. It's not so easy to move on players that have got 3 or 4 years left on their contract, who I'd probably let go before those two, if I'm being honest. For each player that we think to sell, can I ask to hear replacements of better quality or growing quality, says the Duke. I think you make a good point, the Duke, but I also think that that's not our job. There are people out there who, do lists of who they would go and buy. I mean, I can give you names, but I also would rather just react to the names that we're being linked to, because it's going to come down to, I mean, I don't think Brighton fans sit there and go, let's go and get Belieber. Let's go and get Casido. Let's go and get that striker from the French league. They don't. The player comes in and then they assess them. And I think we need to be like that. We need to trust our recruitment team. And if you're getting rid of Harry Maguire, then I would trust our recruitment team to have spotted somebody somewhere that comes in on a much cheaper wage. I think that if we move Casemiro on, I would trust our recruitment team to have somebody coming through, maybe from the Championship or maybe from the Bundesliga or something like that, for a lot less money, who is in their early 20s, who is hungry, ready to go. And I think that's what we need to see. I mean, I could say get rid of Casemiro, replace him with Edison. I could say get rid of Maguire, bring in Branthwaite or Diamonde or someone like that. I could say let's move on Mason Mount and bring in Nipan or whoever. But the point is, I trust the club to get the replacements. Do I trust the club to clear the deadwood? And every single manager from Louis van Gaal to today has never been allowed to get rid of the deadwood. And I think that's so important. Rash says, are you feeling all right, Mark? Maguire in a back three. I don't think there's, in fact, many who are better. He will be world class for that system. Clear bias. Okay, we'll wait and see. Lackey, welcome to members. Mate, honestly, whether you're bantering or not, the one thing I will say about Harry Maguire is every time he gets written off, he ends up starting for Man United. So I wouldn't say it's out of the realms of possibility. All I'm saying is, my opinion, we should sell. He's 190k. He's getting injured more. He's 32. Now's the time to move him on. I would like to see how Amas works in the system, says Mains. Well, he's 17. I'm sure he'll get a chance. Kia says, Rashford's great on his day, but we need to move forward if we want to become relevant again, and the focus can't be on getting best out of Rashford, says Kia. Lackey Blue, welcome to the Members Club. I am Ronnie says, it's so funny people hating me for blaming Mark for being biased towards Rashi. I'm here for almost 8. How does he feel when you blame him? You trolls, says I am Ronnie. I didn't know you did have a go at me, I am Ronnie, to be honest. I can't remember what you said. He said, I love this community and I do like your safeguard of our players, but sometimes you get biased. By the way, Rashford is same as Lingard and Pogba. He needs to go. Okay. I don't know what's going on with I am Ronnie. But I don't think he said anything wrong. to be fair. But Dweller, welcome to Members Club. Mojo's in the house, given 5 memberships as well. Demine, thanks for being a member for 3 months. Appreciate that. Oh, Rashford's up at the moment. That's why everyone's talking about Rashford. So, sell or keep Marcus Rashford. I do like that comment about, because I suppose it resonates with what we've said about Paul Pogba. I do like we need to be about the team and not the individual. There is something to be said about Rashford, and we saw it with him being in America. And the one thing I would say is that I think that's bang out of order, but this has happened to Beckham, it's happened to Gaza, it's happened to Giggs, it's always happened. Like, you know, Marcus Rashford's not the first player to be scrutinised by the press and photographed. And I think some people act like he is. He isn't. It's been going on for years. Raheem Sterling had it. You know, it happens. It's not right, but it does happen. But I think there is an interesting thing about that if we're trying to be a team, the press are never not going to focus on Marcus Rashford. So there's nothing Rashford can do about that. There's nothing Man United can do about that. The press are always going to be obsessed with Rashford. The story's always going to be about Rashford. So if he doesn't play well every week and is in and out of the team, then it's always going to be a news story, isn't it? So that's something that I think might be a reason why some people would say, fresh start, time for him to go, time for United to move on, part ways. And I've heard people like Scholes and Keane say that it might be time for Rashford to go off somewhere else. So I understand that argument. Sell or keep next summer, obviously. 72% of you say sell, and 28% of you are saying keep. I'd probably be on the fence with this one, and I don't like being on the fence because I think it's so important to see what happens over the next 6 months. And so therefore, I'm predicting what I would do in the summer. So I will give parameters to this. If he plays really well between now and the summer, and not just for 3 months, but between now and May, then obviously he's on a massive contract. I would be keeping him. If between the next 6 months he's in and out of the team, it's up and down, I would be moving him on. And it's that simple. And that is a fair answer. You can't give that. You've just got to click keep or sell. But for me, that is a fair answer because that's different if it's Erikson. If Erikson does really well between now and the summer, I'm still going to let him go because he's 32, he's on 150k a week, and I need to look longer term. There's context to every player. If Rashford plays really, really well and is in the first team for between now and next summer, then I'm going to keep him, obviously. If he carries on like the last year where it's up and down like a yo-yo, I'm going to say I think it's time we move on because we can't keep having this conversation that we've been having for, you know, maybe the last 2 years. And that's how simple it is with me. So that's the context I would give on it. It's a yes or no vote, though. Okay, if it's a yes or no vote, keep. Yeah, if you force in my hand, keep, because I can't predict the future, and I did this once before. I said after Ranić's season, I can't see him ever getting back. He doesn't look happy. We're not happy with him. It's time to go. And then he had that amazing season, and I thought, oh fucking hell. So maybe I should say sell. Actually, I tell you what, I can't see a way back. He doesn't look happy. I just don't think it's going to work at United. Yeah, I think it's time to sell. So, no, I would keep. But look, I would change that opinion if he carries on like he is. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see very different players. I mean, look, Antony might suddenly look bloody brilliant. Harry Maguire might come back from injury and be prime Harry Maguire. Dalot might be an amazing wing-back. And, Mazraoui might become a Ballon d'Or winner. The amount of players that are going to, I think, improve is incredible because they're all playing for the shirt now. They're all playing for their future now because it's a brand new start. And if you've not been around the team or you've been a bit disillusioned, suddenly there's a new guy in town and things could be better. And if you have been in the team doing well, there's a new guy in town, you've got to fight again. So I do think we're going to see, I just can't see a scenario where we see players running around not looking that interested again. I'd be very, very surprised. The players were Pratt saying that I'm wrong. No, Mark, the Pratts were saying that I'm wrong because you criticised Rashford before. I was just testing people and they blamed me like Mark is damned for his opinion. Okay. Terence says Rashford's had enough time. It is time to go. And Haz says, you could split our squad into two categories. One side with a good mentality and fitness and the other with quality and skill. Barely any overlap, says Haas. And Nicholas Hardy says, can you disrespect... Mark, you can't disrespect Albrighton like that. At least he's won the Prem. These lot couldn't even win a race they were running solo in. Thank you very much, Nicholas. What do you think we should do with Antony? We've done that, Ramash, and 82% said sell. From a neutral, sell Rashford next summer, says Rub. Dweller, welcome to the members club as well. Thank you very much. There aren't any other players to do. We've been through every single player there. Oh, one player I didn't include. Actually, I am going to do this. There is one player that I thought I was going to put him in immune, but then I thought, well, look, it's only the start of the season. He actually was really bad last year. We've got a new manager in. He might not like the keeper. So Onana, sell or keep. I think I know what will happen, and obviously I don't think it's going to be any different to me. But Kia says, in relation to Rashford, a few months of good performance is not enough. We've seen that enough of Rashford, and he can't be bigger than the club. There we go. We didn't do Garnacho, Ahmad, Mainu, Yoro, Mazraoui because they are players that I think we would put as untouchable. I don't think anybody would want to sell those. So that's basically everybody done. And 81% of you would keep Onana, which is good. I mean, look, for me, it's a keep. I don't want to change the goalkeeper. If you change the goalkeeper, it's money. And I don't think we should have... I genuinely thought... I think Ten Hag got it wrong with De Gea. I mean, £50 million that could have been spent on a centre-back, replacing a goalkeeper that was absolutely fine in a team that doesn't play out from the back anyway. I think that was a mistake. And I therefore think it would be a similar mistake. And I don't think Ineos would sanction it. Oh, let's replace a goalkeeper and buy another goalkeeper for £50 million. Stick with Onana. Stick with Onana. What about Malacia? Says, oh, I didn't put Malacia in because I just think it was unfair. We haven't seen the guy play for 18 months. He probably was bought as a bench player anyway. Why would we sell him? Let's wait. Let's give the lad some time. Like, he's had a very bad injury, so I didn't include Malacia in. And I think we would all... How could you say sell Malacia when you're judging him on a knee injury and he hasn't played for 18 months? So I think with Malacia, I think we leave him for now. Humphrey says, Onana has redeemed himself, if we're being honest. I would agree. Just a couple of things to bring you as well. First day for Amarim tomorrow. So we'll probably get some training ground pictures and etc. Obviously, not everybody will be training tomorrow. I mean, look, some people have actually finished their international break now. England have played their 2 games. So English players probably get a couple of days off and then they'll be back training on Wednesday. But remember, they are not. There are no Man United players there. Other clubs that we've got Man United players playing for, I don't think there is anybody today that finishes international duty because tomorrow McTominay doesn't play for us anymore. Portugal play tomorrow night, so none of the Portuguese players, Dalot or Bruno, will actually be back in training until probably Wednesday or Thursday. Who else is that? Denmark play tomorrow as well, so Rasmus and Erikson will be the same Wednesday or Thursday. Just having a look who else is playing. Morocco play as well tomorrow, so Mazraoui would be the same. Tuesday, Sweden, but obviously Lindelof is injured. Who else have we got in the international scene? No way, we've got no one Welsh. Wednesday, Argentina play and Uruguay play. Uruguay play Brazil at 1:45 in the morning, and Argentina play Peru. So yeah, I don't think Agate will train until Friday. Same for Garnacho as well. So it's going to be. I think it's really interesting. I want to talk about this tomorrow. Actually, how does he pick his team on Sunday? If you're Mason Mount and you're Marcus Rashford and trying to think Casemiro, Mainu, are you all going to start against Ipswich because you've got a whole week of training with the new manager? And then if you're Agate and Garnacho, you're not back till Friday, so you're on the bench. Like, is that going to work? Or is he going to go, well, I love Garnacho, I love Agate, and put them straight in? I don't know when the Netherlands are playing. Someone said, what about Dalot? I don't know when the Netherlands are playing. And Zirkzee, of course, as well. So it's going to be very interesting, but he'll be training with some of the players will be training tomorrow. So they'll have that early introduction. I don't think that makes a difference, by the way. It's like being early to a party. Some people think that some of these players, because they're training with Amarim first tomorrow, they'll get ahead and they'll be like his favourites. But I mean, have you ever been to a party and you get there early and it's like, hi, thanks for coming, and then the good people turn up later and it's like, I don't think it's going to make any difference, is what I'm saying. But I do think Garnacho and Ugarte, it's the South American thing. I'm glad the international break's over because it's such a mess how late those players get back, and it could be important. Apparently Bruno is suspended as well. Just on Martinez as well, I don't think I mentioned this on the morning show. Obviously, we don't even know if Martinez is going to be available for the game because he had an injury. But this is what we know. He's flying back to Manchester at the moment as he wants to join up with Amarim ASAP. He did have permission to stay in Argentina for the full break with his family, but wants to return to Carrington early. He'll undergo tests on his lower back in the next couple of days at Carrington, which is a knock he picked up from Leicester, and he's likely to be at Carrington tomorrow instead of Thursday as originally planned. So he actually did have time off to stay in Argentina until Thursday, but he's on his way back and wants to link up with Amarim from the start, which is really good. So that's very positive. Bring back Dan James for the wing-back position, says Lib. Does Dan James actually still play for Leeds? I mean, it's a name I never hear of, to be honest, anymore. The Caps was on. Sorry about the Capitals, says Ronnie. Carl Rayner says, Mark, aside from goals, how did Rashford actually perform the whole 90 minutes? I don't think I've actually seen a good game from him, even when he is on form. I also don't know if he possesses football IQ as he should. So effectively saying he's overhyped, Carl. Have you seen our new youngster, Lasali? He looks good. People forget about Lasali, Fuge, and I always bring his name in. We got him from Crystal Palace. Obviously, we got Kone and Obi Martin as well. But Lasali, I don't know why his name doesn't get mentioned enough. We brought 3 players this summer, and he's a winger. So Amarim likes wingers. So I think those 3 players are very exciting. And so are a lot of other young players that we've already got at Man United. So look, hopefully when you look at, people want Quenda. We're not getting Quenda from Sporting. He's got a £100 million release clause, 17 years of age. That's not going to happen. What excites me about Quenda and Sporting is he's 17. We've got 17-year-olds like Amas, like Kone, like Lasali, like Obi Martin. So maybe we're not signing Quenda. Maybe he's going to use, his own players that are coming through. CN Sean K says, where do you get the jumper? Well, if you want to get the jumper, you can get it on United Stand Shopify, or the link in the description, or it will be pinned underneath somewhere. In relation to these are limited edition knitted jumpers. So if you want to get one, get your order in tonight. You'll have it in the next week or so. We do ship worldwide. But when they're gone, they're gone. So there we go. Sumir says, if Yamal can get in at 16, why can't Obi Martin? Well, this is my point. People want us to go and buy Quenda, who's 17. Look at the amount of 17-year-olds I've just mentioned there. Why would one of them, if they prove they're good enough, why would they not be coming into the team? And then you're not spending any money. So, yeah. Let me just sell that. So, Onana was sell 20% and keep 80%, which I completely and utterly agree with. Absolute legends tonight. Just to add to this here, because we have actually gone to 41k now. So some people might not have been aware of it from yesterday because it was on the That's Football channel. Our charity stream raised £41,000 yesterday in 12 hours for the Marie Curie charity, which helps and supports people with terminal illness and end-of-life care and supporting their families. We do it every year, and I think we've raised over 200k now. Obviously, the media won't report that because they like to write bullshit about me and this community. But anything that's actually significant and real, they won't write an article on that. But we don't care. You can still contribute by scanning the QR code with your camera, whether it's a tenner, whatever you can give. That is still open if you want to donate, because some people didn't realise it happened yesterday. So thank you, everybody. And if you were part of the stream yesterday, I'll say it again. This community is amazing, and it is on That's Football and it is on here, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. So keep the community alive, keep getting involved, keep spreading the word, because you're absolutely fantastic. And we've got some really exciting stuff coming for you, starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow. I'm back live with you at 10 o'clock tomorrow, but we've got a little bonus video that I was meant to put out yesterday, but I forgot because I was streaming. So we're doing the charity stream. So I've got a video that needs to go out because it's something I wanted to do for a while, and it's coming out at 7 o'clock tomorrow. It's only 10 minutes, but subscribe, get your notifications on, because that'll be a nice one to wake up to tomorrow. Whether you're in bed with a cup of coffee, or whether you're on the way to work or school or whatever, I think you'll enjoy that. So 7 o'clock tomorrow, check that out. And I'm live at 10 o'clock tomorrow as well, for Amarim's first day. Thanks everyone for watching. Enjoy what you're doing. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, stay safe. Really enjoyed that. Love the interactive shows, and I love the shows during the international break. So for the last week, it's been brilliant, but now it's time to get to work, isn't it? We're building towards this vast amount of games in a very short period of time as well. Take care, everyone. Speak to you all later.